fast fashion, and the race to the bottom. What is fast fashion? Fast fashion is the mass production of inexpensive clothing created using cheap textiles and mistreated workers that jumps on one trend and another to appeal to its first world consumers. However, while the fashion trends come and go, the cheap textiles stay, creating growing mounds of landfills all over the world, funded by these consumers. The low cost draws buyers in, trapping them in the financing of worker exploitation, including child labor. These unknowing consumers feed into these malpractices right under their noses, with some of their favorite fashion companies being part of this fast fashion crisis. Shein, ASOS, Mango, Zara, H&M, and Fashion Nova are just some of these companies, each creating their growing billion-dollar net worths on the backs of environmental and worker injustices. According to ImpactPolicies.org, Zara has had numerous allegations filed against them for their forced labor and slave labor conditions in its factories across countries such as Spain, Brazil, Argentina, and Myanmar. But how is fast fashion impacting our environment? The comments says that globally we produce about 100 billion garments each year and send 92 billion to the landfill. Fast fashion clothing is prone to end up in landfills.
Unfortunately, fast fashion has become very popular with consumers, but it comes at a high cost to our planet. Fast fashion relies on cheap manufacturing, frequent consumption, and short-lived garment use.
As can be seen on the graph, the rate of textiles sent to landfills has been rapidly climbing since 1990, roughly around the time the fast fashion crisis began. As you can see here, in the year 2020, the amount of textiles sent to landfills reached its peak at around 11,150 million textiles. To further elaborate on fast fashion's impact on the environment is Miss Allison Green from Remake, a global advocacy organization fighting for fair pay and climate justice within the clothing industry.
Just in 2000 alone, there were about 50 billion garments made, and today there's 100 billion, so it already doubled just from 2000.
But this only contributes to half of the environmental impacts. As can be seen in this pie chart here, almost 2/3 of all the global fiber production in 2020 was comprised of synthetic fibers, which were fossil fuel derived.
Also, with so many clothing pieces being, plastics, like that nylon, polyester, spandex, it takes over 200 years for those to decompose in landfill.
Why do fast fashion industries like Shein and Zara use plastic-like fibers? Synthetic fibers like polyester, nylon, and acrylic are forms of plastic. They're cheaper and therefore more popular. Fast fashion does not only impact the environment, but it also takes a toll on our ethics. In an article written by Forbes, they state that the American factories they use owe over $3.8 million in wages to workers, with those same workers making an average of $2.77 an hour. In that same article, they say, it's alright for fast fashion to be an ethical corrupter if we value money over the cost of a human life.
Teenagers don't want to wear clothes that children in Indonesia or Los Angeles have given up their childhood to make.
A recent undercover study was conducted at the Shein factory, and it was found to exploit workers, target social media and young adults, and manipulate users with influencers. To combat the horrors of fast fashion, a slow fashion movement must begin, focusing on the younger members of this industry. To achieve this, extensive educational efforts should be launched, and influential members of society must endorse this revolution.
Recycling is critical, and we may need more education for all of us about how best to recycle.
You could not care if you know, but you can't care about something if you don't even know about it.
Due to the unsustainable environmental practices and unethical worker treatment that is ingrained in the fast fashion industry, in the next 20 years, the most important change we want to see in America is the establishment of a new cultural movement, one that supports slow fashion and sustainability.